Okay, all right, yes, it is another book about spiders. But listen. It's not my fault. Adrian Tchaikovsky just keeps writing them, and I gotta read them all. Welcome, I'm Kat, and today I'm gonna be doing a quick little review of yet another book featuring spiders. It's called Spiderlight by Adrian Tchaikovsky. And full disclosure, I actually read this book a while ago and I had the script written, but I just never got around to making the video. But now that I've figured out a more efficient editing process, I thought I still like the book very much, so I thought I'd just go ahead and make the video. Oh yes, by the way, Adrian Tchaikovsky is the person who also wrote two of my other favorite books featuring spiders, Children of Ruin and Children of Time. I also reviewed them on this channel. The reviews are kind of terrible, but I'll put a link if you want to watch them. Okay, let's dig in. So, Spiderlight is a really short fantasy book. It's about 300 pages long, so it's a breeze to read. The setup is a bit of a cliche, but it is clearly on purpose. We have the standard fantasy world with the forces of light battling the forces of evil, forces of darkness, which are also the forces of evil. For many, many generations and every few decades, some powerful mage will inevitably be corrupted by darkness and will become the Dark Lord of the generation. And against him, a team of heroes will rise, and on and on and on we go. So we start the book with the current team of heroes who are on a quest to overthrow the most up-to-date Dark Lord called Darvisian. Right, they follow this prophecy according to which they can only reach the Dark Lord following the spider path, whatever that is. And he can only be defeated using the fang of the Spider Queen. Yeah, lots of spiders straight away. So our five heroes, led by Dion, I'm not actually sure how to pronounce her name, but whatever. Priestess of the Church of Light. They burn and slay their way into a forest and force the mother spider that resides there to give them one of her fangs and one of her children to lead them by this spider path. So, since the whole conflict is the forces of light against the forces of darkness, and the spider is a creature of the dark, our heroes can't just like stroll around with a spider on a leash. So, the team's mage, Penthos, rolls up his sleeves and turns the spider into almost, but not like quite human. Everyone's horrified, including the spider. Now our heroes, who all have their own problems and are not exactly the best buddies, they kind of in it almost by accident. They have to deal with this human spider hybrid while on their way to the Dark Lord's lands. The spider, who's called Nth, by the way, is also not super stoked about being turned into this weird human-ish creature and just being dragged around by this like group of weirdos who also see him nothing as like a brainless animal. So yeah, we have lots of fun conflict straight away. So the book follows the journey of our heroes and all kinds of fun adventures they have on the way until they finally end up facing the Dark Lord. So overall, I really like this book. I wouldn't say it's the most amazing book I've ever read, or that it's an absolute must or anything, but it was like a fun, enjoyable read for me. I found it really easy to get into and get through. And I think that's partly because we're just thrown into the action from the beginning. There's no long exposition, no info dumping. We don't see the team of heroes get together. We don't see them set out on this quest or anything. The world building's kind of pretty minimal. The book assumes that the reader is familiar with the various fantasy tropes, so it just starts right at the moment of the encounter with the mother spider. And honestly, I kind of appreciated that. The book just goes, here you go, good luck. I respect that. Also, another fun little detail is that the book actually starts from the point of view of the spiders, which immediately lets you know that yes, there are a lot of cliche elements, that there might be an interesting spin on things down the line. The characters were enjoyable, they're not super deep or anything, and they're based in some sort of fantasy trope, each one of them. But they're definitely interesting and distinct from one another, and when we switched points of view from one character to the other, I personally was never confused. I think out of all of them, I actually liked the spider character the best. Big shocker, I know. He's just was the most interesting to read about because his circumstances were kind of the most fascinating to me. He was transformed against his will. He's stuck between these two forms. He's neither here nor there. And I think the book did a really, really great job of making the spider character, on one hand, very sympathetic, like you really feel for him. But on the other hand, he's also very clearly not human, and he is very unsettling to the other characters and to the reader. So I thought it was really, really fun to read about. I also found the book quite funny in places, not in a snappy one-liner, like funny banter dialogue kind of way, more like the situations that our heroes end up in are funny. That doesn't mean that it's like a full-on comedy. It does have its sincere moments, but yeah, that was a really fun surprise. In terms of the plot, it was pretty basic. I guess it had a couple of twists and turns, but for such a short book, I felt like that was enough. I didn't expect it to be anything dramatic. The pacing felt just right. I never felt bored. I never wanted to put the book down. And there were only a couple of negatives, in my opinion. The ending felt a little bit predictable. No, actually, I don't want to say predictable. But I did have the feeling throughout the book that I know where it's going, and I was kind of right. And second, I liked that it was short, but also when it was over, I was kind of sorry it wasn't longer. Which is funny because I always complain about all the huge, thick books that I need to read. So when I finally end up with a short book, I feel slightly unsatisfied. I want more. So yeah. In conclusion, I really, really enjoyed this. Not sure if I enjoyed it more because I read Adrian Tchaikovsky's other books featuring spiders and I was already on board with that whole idea. But still, I think it's a good book. Though I do have to say I am a little bit biased because this book does feature my new favorite trope of like a non-human point of view. But I think it's a fun little book. So if you're looking to take a little break for like super heavy, long, intense books, I highly recommend this thing. It's very, very, very fun. Oh, also apparently, I don't play D&D, but one of my friends who does says it is very, very D&D inspired. So that's kind of funny. Anyway, yeah, that is it. Guys and gals and everyone else, thank you so much for watching. I'm not gonna tell you to like and subscribe because I have decided that's kind of awkward. I'll just stare at you really intensely for a little bit. All right, that's it. I'll see you all next time. Bye.